teacher, teacher, I beg you ring the bell.
It's 8:21 a.m. on a Monday morning and the line outside the Greater Portmore High School grows longer. Very soon it becomes a bundle by the roadside as most students here have missed their opportunity to partake in the day's lesson. Those with a valid verifiable reason for being late will get in, but others will be sent back home. However, the problem is not everyone goes home after being turned away from school.
We have had situations where 460 odd students have turned up to school late in one morning. We can't live with that.
The Greater Portmore High principal points out that the institution has been battling a chronic lateness problem which the Education Ministry demanded they address immediately.
In our last assessment by the National School Inspectorate team, it was pointed out that we had to do something to arrest the lateness among the student population. And when students are late for school, it affects their learning in terms of instructional time. And we have, prior to what we are doing since November, we have tried a number of initiatives, including barring them from school, from actual classes, keep them on the compound, but barring them from classes. And we have worked in concert with the Safe Schools officers and with the 100-man police station who do patrols regularly.
But with those efforts not reaping the desired results, the school's board stepped in.
The board met and determined that we should close the gate at 8:15. But we just did not do that just by the spur of the moment. We went through a process of consultation with the Parent-Teacher Association, Parents Unit Association, with the various stakeholders, student leadership, and we took the action in November after starting out to inform the students from September. And we used quite a number of mechanisms to get information to across to the students.
Mr. Scott says a sign was specifically erected last November to inform the students of the new policy.
And we are determined that we are going to be unflinching in our position that they must get here on time. Greater Portmore High School, I dare say, is the school that begins the latest in the mornings. We start at 8, most other schools begin at 7.
The school's principal says the institution has made provisions for students who have valid reasons for being tardy.
We say to the parents, if you know the child is going to come to school late, send us a letter. But we go further than that. Students who are coming to us from far outside of the school district, so to speak, we give them special passes to come at a certain time. That's what I'm saying. But the whole idea of students coming to school late and consistent late, we're not going to put up with it. And it's a board decision. The parent has to be responsible to try and get the child to school on time for school. But the child also must know that you must come to school on time.
However, he notes that some students do not have a valid excuse to be late.
But it's a tendency for not taking the transportation that is available to them. They exercise a choice. They don't want to go on the bus. So they take the taxis that make a lot of loud music. And they reach here even after 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the mornings.
The Live at 7 undercover team witnessed just that. At 7:51 a.m., a JUTC bus arrives at the bus stop at the Portmore Mall, where several students of the Greater Portmore High School were waiting for some 30 minutes. However, some students had no interest in taking that mode of transportation, despite the fact they were running late and were risking being locked out. Meanwhile, other students just walked across the bus pretending it wasn't there. The JUTC bus leaves with more than enough space that could have accommodated some more students. Several minutes later, a coaster bus comes along and the students jockey for a spot to get on. It's now 8:08 a.m., less than 7 minutes to get to school, and these students at this bus stop allow the JUTC bus to leave them, still standing there. The loitering across the Sunshine City by the Greater Portmore High students has the police concerned.
For the most part, their safety is compromised because they're not being supervised. They're out there, we're not sure what they're getting. And in fact, we have been told that they've been involved with gambling and other illicit activities during the hours when they should be in school. Because when they are locked out and sent home, they do not necessarily go home. They loiter and they find something to occupy their time until evening when school would normally be let off.
The police say they have been stretched trying to respond to the increased number of calls from Portmore residents complaining about the students overrunning the community when they should be in school.
They have been terrorizing some of the residents. This is how they put it, because they would enter premises that they're not authorized to enter during the time when they should be in schools. So if there's any, we have been told of persons as well, who, for those students who live in the area, they have been taking their friends home. And that opens up a whole new can of worms, because students at home during the day, parents are going to work, unsupervised, anything can happen.
The police point out that additional plans were necessary to deal with troublemakers who didn't go home after they were locked out.
Since the beginning of this new initiative by the school, what we have done, in many instances, some of the students are brought here to the office, and we provide sort of counseling and guidance for them to sort of keep them on the right track.
It's now 11:17 a.m. and obviously not wanting to go home just yet, some students idle at a nearby mall, enjoying a cool drink, while others will spend the rest of the day listening to their favorite songs as the minutes tick by. Another issue highlighted is that many parents aren't aware that on any particular day, their child, who they thought was in the care of an educational institution, can instead be found loitering across Portmore as a result of being locked out of school. However, the Greater Portmore High principal is adamant that if the child isn't on the compound by 8:15 a.m., they're not his responsibility.
I'm not going to mark an attendance register outside of the 8:15 time when the student is outside the school gate. Because the parents know that school was 8:15. When the child is on the compound, then I have a responsibility to inform the parents. But it's public, the sign out there speaks. So look at the sign. It says school gate closed at 8:15.
Meanwhile, the police want the school to reconsider the move as the meager resources of the St. Catherine South Police Division, which could be directed at fighting crime, is caught up trying to babysit deviant students.
I'm hoping that the board and the school can come to a decision to find another way to deal with this, because it is adding to our already stretched resources.
We didn't arrive at our position here arbitrarily. It's a well thought out decision.
Teacher, I beg you ring